Welcome back to After Dark, and we're playing Black Mirror. Last episode we talked to the Gravedigger, and we found out that William has been having some midnight excursions here at the church. And he had been snooping around in the graveyard, and Father Frederick had let him inside the church. And we don't know why. And the church is locked, and the Gravedigger won't let us in until Father Frederick gets back tomorrow. So we can't get into the church, but perhaps we can head into the cemetery and see. Maybe we can find out what William was looking for around here. As always, every time we get to a new screen, we click on all the hotspots. Lore for the lore.
The names carved in stone are no longer legible.
Got an old tree.
Its branches are stretching over the graves.
That seems to be it here, although we can head. It says to William's grave. So William is buried here. Guess that makes sense since this is the family church or parish. It seems to be interchangeable. They say parish, they say church, they say vicarage. I'm guessing it all is the same thing.
One of the crypts of our family. I don't even know who's buried in it. The tomb of Jeremy Gordon.
All right.
William will rest in this cold grave forever. I'll find out the whole truth, even if I go through hell for it.
So this is interesting. This is the first and only time, I believe, where the game dates when this game takes place. We are in 1981. But there doesn't seem to be anything here. We found William's grave, but there doesn't seem to be anything here that indicates what he might have been looking for. So, let's talk to the Gravedigger again. Maybe he can tell us maybe what William might have been looking for. I mean, he certainly would have dug his grave. Maybe he can tell us something about that. Take your time, Samuel.
May I disturb you?
Not for long. I've got a lot of work to do.
Has Father Frederick returned yet?
No, he hasn't. It's a long journey from Windshire. He won't be back until tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I'd like.
You'd like to go inside the church, but I already told you about that. Now go. I have to finish this before dusk.
Ooh. The church bells are tolling.
It's 7 o'clock. I should return to the main gate. If Herman is true to his word, his man will be waiting there for me.
Ah, yeah, for the personal effects of William.
You must be Dr. Herman's man, is that right?
I'm not Herman's man. I just work for him from time to time. You're Samuel Gordon, aren't you? I've got something to deliver.
Yes, please give it to me.
Yeah, why not? I don't care who you are anyway. I was supposed to give this package to whoever came to this gate at 7. That's when my job is over. Take it so I can go.
Hold on a minute. Are you Mark?
Yeah, that's me. Why?
Harry said you had worked in our garden.
A couple of times. So what?
I'd like to ask you about William Gordon. What can you tell me about him?
Nothing. I barely knew him. I just worked in the garden. I'm in a hurry. Do you want anything else?
No thanks.
Good. See you around.
Bye. I hope I'll find what I'm looking for.
So yeah, that's Mark. We've actually heard mention of him before, even though he didn't have a name. If you remember the letter that we found in the newspaper rack right outside Robert's study, it was a note from Dr. Hines to Robert regarding quote-unquote parcels that Robert seems to be sending to Hines, and a man being paid to deliver them. That's Mark. Mark is the guy who people pay to do things for them. He's just the handyman. He doesn't have a real job. So, just to make a connection as to who that is. I also wanted to bring up, because I don't think I've really gone into it, but the game never explicitly states, but heavily implies, that Catherine, if you remember the woman who died in the flames, that Samuel considers himself at fault for, and the reason he left for 12 years, is very likely his wife. Could be girlfriend, but very likely wife. And again, it never states it, but her picture is on the dresser in Samuel's room, and he mentions that she would comb her hair in front of the mirror every morning. So if they're sharing a bedroom together, it was probably his wife. But I just wanted to make that known, because I don't think the game ever says wife. Anyway, let's pick up this damn box. What's in it?
There's only a watch and a few trinkets in it.
I guess the trinkets are garbage. Let's check the watch.
I'll open it. William made a remark of some kind here.
Okay.
A gold pocket watch. Beautiful handiwork.
What about this note? Small piece of paper.
To my forgetful head, the path to the key begins in the library, on my work table, hidden away under the blue curtain of unwritten words.
Alright, so here is our main clue. To my forgetful head, the path to the key begins in the library on my work table, hidden away under the blue curtain of unwritten words. Well, on the work table, under unwritten words, would likely be his ink pen. So let's head back to the library and see what we can find. Alright. So here we are at the work table, and look at that. The inkwell is now a hot spot.
There's a button under the inkwell. I'll try to press it.
Ooh. I like secret cabinets.
There's a box of some sort. I'll take it.
Let's have a look at it.
Miniatures of the planets of the solar system, carved from hardwood.
Well, where do you think that goes? Perhaps in the globe that we saw earlier? That would make the most sense, wouldn't it? Oops. There we go. And now we have our first real puzzle. And also one that I find, I think, a little bit unfair and misguided. There is nothing in this entire game up to this point that shows you what the solar system is. Meaning, this puzzle requires outside knowledge, which I don't think is fair. I don't think a game should rely on you having to look up outside knowledge to figure out what things are, because you just have to know the layout of the solar system. Granted, a lot of people do, but I still found this confusing, because you don't just have to remember the planets, you have to remember kind of what they look like and the relative size. Some of these were easy off the top of my head. Like, for instance, Pluto is white and the furthest from the sun. Earth, which is an obvious looking one, is third from the sun. We have Mercury, which is, I believe it was the smallest planet, but apparently it seems to be not as small as Pluto. Either way, that's the closest one to the sun. Venus? Is this Venus? I can't remember what the second planet is. Maybe it's Venus? And then Mars would be fourth. And then, let's see here. This is always where I get a little bit confusing. Jupiter, the biggest planet, I believe is after Mars. Saturn, which we know because it has the ring, I believe is closest to that one. And then we have Neptune and Uranus. I don't know. Those last two are a gamble. I don't know their placements. That's apparently a no. So let's switch them. There we go. But yeah,
That's it.
maybe the positions of the planets in the solar system is elementary school knowledge, but still, the idea that you have to have that knowledge, I think, is a little ridiculous.
That must be William's key.
We just got William's key.
The key to William's study in the old tower.
Oh, yes. You know what that means? We can finally have access to basically the whole point of this chapter has been getting into William's Tower. And we now have access. So, after getting the key to actually enter the attic, then getting the hammer to get the boards down, to finding the door locked, finally finding the second key, and getting into this, has been some work. And here we go. It all leads up to this.
The door can't be opened. I left William's key on the other side of the door.
You
The
idiot.
lock must have gotten stuck.
Well, great. We ain't leaving now.
The lock is stuck.
Great. Well, we're here. So let's have a look around. Massive chest.
The lid is locked.
That's locked. Anything on this desk? A chessboard.
The black rook is missing.
The black rook is missing. Okay. Got some maps.
Astrological maps. William admired the stars and space. I don't think these can help me, though. Old maps. I'm not interested in them at the moment.
Got another chest.
The lid won't move. The lid won't move.
You know, I'm actually... We don't open this here. And I don't recall ever coming back here, so I don't know why this remains a hotspot.
The lid won't move.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering something. Let's look at these parchments.
Several scrolls scribbled over with notes. There isn't anything useful on them.
Alright, well I guess that leaves his desk. Parchments?
Lots of scrolls and papers, but none with William's writing. He must have been recording the important notes somewhere.
And there's nothing on this desk. Oh wait, no. Small cabinet? It's a music box. Kind of sounds like music from The Room, if you've ever played that game.
As though I've heard that melody somewhere before.
Yeah.
As though I've heard that melody.
The game calls it a cabinet. It's a music box. Damn it. It won't let us click on the drawer here. We have to back out and then click on it, which is really weird. Can I please click on it?
This title makes no sense. I'll have a closer look.
What makes no sense? Ooh.
There's a small key inside the book. The pages have been cropped so as to hide it. I'll take it.
Nice. That'll surely help us. And there's nothing else here. I forgot something on the desk. The pixel hunting issue that all these old adventure games have. Right here. The missing chess piece. And if you right-click on it... Whoa. Now it becomes a small knife. Nice. And then another thing that got me stuck for quite a while when I played this the first time. If you right-click on the drawer...
A book has been glued to the bottom side of the drawer. The Diary of William Gordon.
That's what we
William's
want.
diary. Excellent. Hopefully, I'll finally learn what happened that night. March 21st. I'm old.
I'm old. I know my time is drawing in, and that is why I want to put some sense into my life before I leave this world. I have contributed my last years to looking for the truth about my family and the blood that runs in my veins. Maybe it is also because of the guilt that I bear in my heart for the fate of my dear James. The fate that I didn't have the courage to change. After all the years spent with the old journals, I know at last what the goal of my search is. I must not lose time. March 23rd. In the chronicle of the manor and the old records in the library, I have learned things that were forgotten and much that is new. I learned that James is not the only one to have lost full control of his mind. Throughout the centuries, several of my blood ancestors have suffered from the same affliction that now curses James. It seems as though it is all somehow correlated, has a perverse purpose of some kind. I traced the family line and learned that every one of those poor souls had been born in the same week, repeating with the period of 2 centuries. Is the madness supposed to be punishment of some sort? A punishment for deeds so horrible that we have not been pardoned, even after 700 years? I am terrified by this idea. It follows me now, day and night. April 5th. I feel something is not right with me. I am weaker from day to day. My age has caught up with me at last. As the chronicle foretells, the way to revealing the truth is through 5 symbolic keys. I don't exactly know what their purpose is, but if they can lead me to the truth, I must obtain them. I have decided to pursue first the ones that have been carried over time far from my manor. Centuries ago, the keys were given to different men of our family for safekeeping, so that they couldn't be used together. Luckily, I still have my own with me, and obtaining James's key should not be difficult. If only I had known before what I know today, I would not have given it to him. The next one must be in the hands of Marcus himself, according to the records. The fourth one was given to Durham Gordon, the original owner of the remote manor in Wales. I must set off for Wales soon. That is certain. I still do not know where the fifth key is. Its origin eludes me in the many years of the past. When I obtain the other ones, I must find this last one too. April 15th. I have returned from Wales. My searching was futile. It was not easy to get into the family tomb. Unfortunately, I failed to reveal the next fragment of truth, and returned home empty-handed. Not all hope is lost, however. I will focus on the keys that James and Marcus possess. It should not be hard to obtain them. April 21st. I cannot change what has happened in the past of my ancestors, but I hope I can influence the events of the future. The curse that has plagued our family must be of dateless origin. It must stretch into times as distant as those of Marcus and Mordred, the first Gordons. I have decided to start looking for answers at the place where the body of Marcus rests. I know that the tomb is concealed in the dark underground of the parish. Its entrance has long been lost in forgetfulness. No one knows where to begin to look for it. I will set off for the vicarage tonight, April 26th. Whatever it is that is buried underneath Worm Hill, it is not easily within reach. It took me several days before I discovered an extraordinary pedestal with numerous tiny and meticulously shaped stones in the belfry. The whole pedestal is a complex mechanical lock. Surely it will open the way to the church's underground for me. I tried to change the positions of the opposite stones, but it was beyond my will to fully concentrate. I was too tired to attempt to set up the mechanism properly. Before I left for home, I made a drawing of the whole mechanism and returned the stones to their original configuration. Tomorrow I will go to Worm Hill as early as possible. April 27th. Luck was on my side today. I opened the way leading to the tomb of Marcus. Surely, I'm the first one in centuries to have succeeded in doing so. How great was my surprise when I descended into the tomb. There was not a trace of Marcus's grave. Nothing. His body must be hidden somewhere. I hope that the answer lies in the 4 books surrounding the center of the tomb. Shall wisdom be your way? Writes an old text carved in stone. Even after his death, wisdom protects Marcus as it has in his life. I am almost positive that the first answer is map. Despite the darkness, I tried to write down the text from the books, but it was easier to memorize it. I also found it extraordinary, in all probability, a ceremonial object in the shape of a perfect sphere. When I touched it, it was as though whole long centuries breathed on me. An odd feeling. May 7th. I am afraid of this night. I have not slept for 2 days now, and I hear voices. Yes, human voices. There are dozens of them. Their whispering is melting my ears into a sea of horrifying noise. What's happening with me? Am I mad too? No, I repudiate that, now that I am so close to the truth.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here, and a lot of it is extremely important. But here's the Cliff Notes version that you should probably keep in the back of your mind. So at the beginning, he mentions his dear James. We don't know who that is, but he says that the fate that has befallen him, and that he wasn't the first to lose his mind and go crazy. By going through family records and things like that, he learned that for the men of the bloodline, for over 2 centuries at least, men that were born in the same week at a particular time have had the same madness, the same curse that drives them crazy. And so he's trying to research what is this quote-unquote curse on the family. Through his research, he discovered that there's 5 keys that he would have to obtain to know the truth. And you can see right here there's a drawing of these keys. He himself holds one. James holds the other one. Then the other one was held by Marcus Gordon, and then Durgam Gordon, and then the 5th one is unknown where it is. He attempts to get the key from Durgan's grave, which apparently is in Wales, to no success. He actually manages to break into Marcus's tomb, allegedly his tomb. He says he can't find any body there, but that was under the vicarage. So now we know why William was exploring the graveyard and the church. He was trying to find Marcus's tomb. He succeeded, but he wasn't able to pass by the puzzles that were involved. He leaves us a few clues. This thing that says map, and this clue to a mechanism, which of course we'll eventually run into, and the sphere that he finds. So that's essentially going to be our goal for the remainder of the game, is getting these 5 keys. So that's the Cliff Notes version. That's what you should really know. But we have a key which will open up this massive chest. We find a globe.
Old maps, a globe, and a sextant. What did William need all this for?
And a strange sphere.
It's cold to the touch.
That's the sphere he talked about in his journal.
It's strange to the touch.
It's not natural, whatever it is. And that's it. That is all we can do here. How do we get out? Well, our new small knife might be able to push the lock through the door, or push the key out of the lock through the other side.
I'll try to push the latch open. Success.
There we go.
I don't think I can find anything more in here. I'm feeling so strange. My head.
Sir, you're awake at last. We were starting to worry that something might have happened to you.
What happened to you, Samuel?
I don't know. All of a sudden, my head started to ache vigorously. I cannot remember anything after that. How did I make it to my room?
Bates found you lying unconscious in the attic.
Yes, I was going to tidy up there when I saw you lying on the floor. I hurried to get Sir Robert, and then we carried you to your bed so that you could have a rest.
I told you, Samuel, that you should take a rest after such a long journey.
Perhaps you are right. I have no idea what happened. I vaguely remember having a strange dream, but I cannot figure out what it means.
Important thing is that you're all right.
Yes, that's true.
It would be best for you to sleep for a while.
This time, I will follow your advice, Robert.
Good. We shall leave you alone then. If it gets worse, come see me.
Thank you. Hopefully I will be all right now.
Come, Bates. We shall leave Samuel to his rest.
Yes, sir.
Robert is right. I should take a rest. Tomorrow, I'll find out more than today. had a terrible dream. In the morning, my thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door.
Sir! Sir! Open up!
What's going on, Bates?
Open up, sir! I have to tell you something.
Hold on, Bates. I'm there in a moment. What's the matter, then?
It's horrible, sir. Henry, our gardener. They found him in the garden pond.
Calm down, Bates. What are you talking about?
They found him dead this morning in the pond. I know what I am saying. I saw his body being dragged out.
How did it happen?
I have no idea. Detective Collier will tell you that. He has been questioning everyone for quite some time now, and he wants to speak to you too. He did not give any of us a chance to recover from the shock, not even Madam.
Where will I find him?
He's waiting for you in the common room. We had better go there right away, sir.
All right, let's go. Detective Collier.
Yes. Samuel Gordon, I presume. I need to speak with you. Mr. Gordon, do you know what happened?
Yes, Bates told me everything.
Good. I need to ask you a couple of questions. Shall we begin?
Yes.
Did you speak with Henry Stanton yesterday?
Yes, I only arrived yesterday, but I spoke with him during the day.
Oh, you arrived yesterday.
Yes, to attend William's funeral.
I understand. What did you speak with Stanton about?
I don't know exactly. It was a very trivial conversation.
Had you known him from before?
No, I only knew Mr. Dickens, who was Henry's predecessor.
That was before you left the manor.
Yes, about 12 years ago.
Okay, let's return to your conversation with Stanton yesterday. Did he seem strange to you? Nervous or disturbed?
No, nothing like that. He behaved normally.
So, you are saying that he seemed normal?
Right.
I spoke to Morris, your groom, before this interview. He told me that Stanton would often have a bit too much to drink.
Yes, I have heard the same.
Madame Victoria has also confirmed it.
What do you make of it?
Well, they found him in the garden pond, tangled up in algae. I don't know yet how he ended up in there, but the most likely explanation is that it was on account of his drunken state. He might have bumped into something, lost his balance, and fallen into the water.
Maybe. But don't you think the water would have awakened him?
No, exactly the opposite. It was water that caused his death. He fainted, fell into the pond, and the cold water did its thing.
Stopped his heart?
He wouldn't be the first drunkard to have drowned like this. What's ironic, however, is that it didn't happen in a lake or a river, but in a little bit of water in the back garden. Oh well, no man can choose his death. If there is nothing you need to ask, I won't be keeping you any longer.
Thank you.
I have all I need for now. Would you please see me out?
Certainly. Follow me, Detective.
I will now wait for Dr. Herman's report and close this case. Thanks for your time, Gordon.
You're welcome, Detective.
Goodbye.
Collier wants to close the case. Now that Henry is dead, I've got to find a way to obtain the second part of that strange object.
Yeah, you know, another person has just died on the property, but let's get that bill of exchange so I can find the strange object. Jesus, Samuel. Well, we know as the player that Henry's death is not going to be just so simple as a drowning, because we had a strange dream about it. So, first thing we should do is probably head to the site of his death and see what we can find out. Let's look at the fountain.
According to both Bates and Collier, Henry's body was tangled up in algae when they found him. How could he possibly have drowned in this, though?
Yes, does seem pretty shallow, huh?
I shouldn't have made Henry clean the fountain. How could I have known that something like that would happen? The water is murkier than yesterday. Something is glittering at the bottom. What could it be?
Well, we know from the dream that it's most likely a key. Another part of the pixel hunting is down here in the corner. We'll see a footprint.
There's a deep footprint in the mud. It looks quite fresh. Whom does it belong to?
Who knows? Well, let's go have a look at the greenhouse, since that seems to be all that's on Samuel's mind. He's finding this bill of exchange.
The leaves will begin to rot soon. The bags are soaked badly. Perhaps Henry forgot to burn the leaves. Who will take over his job now that this thing has happened?
His priorities are twisted.
It's full of rainwater. It will have to be cleaned before it can be used again.
Let's go inside. Well, the good thing is now that Henry's no longer in here, we now have things that we can click on and investigate. Like this small table.
Cans of paint and a tin with brushes lying on it. Only painter stuff, nothing else. It's full of dry leaves. Nothing but leaves. They're empty, ready for planting in. It's full of clean water. I don't want to water anything.
I didn't ask you to. Let's check this drawer.
Gardening tools and small tubes with fertilizer. I can't see a bill of exchange anywhere. Where could Henry have put it?
Is it possible that maybe he didn't have it, like he said?
There is nothing interesting in the drawer. Seeds of some plants, maybe beans.
Let's check this drawer.
It's closed and probably full of whiskey. Henry hid it here so as not to carry it.
And a metal box.
It's locked.
Well, perhaps the key in the fountain opens that. But for now, that's all we can do here. So, let's go and talk to Morris. Now begins the time where we talk to everyone about the death. And see what everyone's thoughts are about it.
Morris carried the hay sacks away in time before it started to rain.
Good. Anything else? No? There he is.
Morris, do you have a moment?
Sure.
What do you think about what has happened to Henry?
It was to be expected. He drank way too much. I guess it had to end like this.
It sounds like you really don't care that it happened.
Well, we didn't exactly like each other, but I wish no ill will to anyone.
It was you who found him, right?
Yes, I needed something from the back garden, and as I was walking past, I noticed something floating in the fountain. I went closer to have a look, and he was totally tangled up in the weeds. I could see nothing except his coat.
Did you notice anything else?
No, I panicked, you see. I ran to the castle to get Bates to go have a look with me. I kept thinking I might have been confused and imagined it. But it really was Henry.
What happened next?
I rode into the village to get the detective. You know the rest.
So, Morris found Henry. Were you in the stable yesterday?
Sure I was. Where else would I have been?
The lights were not on.
Well, maybe I wasn't. Why are you asking? Oh, I can see where you're coming from. You're thinking that maybe what happened to Henry might not have been an accident and that somebody might have helped him into that pond. I may be a drunkard and a saucebox, sir, but I'm no murderer.
No one is calling you a murderer, Morris. I was just asking.
All right, fair enough, sir. If Madam learns that you are starting to suspect me, I may as well go looking for a new job. There's not much work available in this neighborhood. And besides, who would want to hire a man with one leg that is almost completely lame?
I'm not accusing you of anything, Morris. At least not yet.
Everyone's suspicious, aren't they?
Morris, have you boarded up the old well like I asked you to yesterday?
Not yet, sir. I'll do it today.
It should have been done yesterday. I'm surprised that Henry didn't fall into it.
Excuse me, sir?
You know well how I meant that. I want to see it secured today, or you can start looking for a new job. Is that clear?
Sure, I'll do it. You needn't shout at me, sir.
I have no idea what has gotten into me. Why did I yell at him like that?
Yeah, first of all, Samuel, you yell at Henry about the fountain, and now you're yelling at Morris about the well. Second of all, the well does look boarded up. If you go outside, there's wooden boards over the well. And third, this conversation shouldn't be happening. Another issue with the quality control of this game sometimes. That's Victoria, if you talk to her earlier, she will mention that she wants you to tell Morris to board up the well. I believe that we skipped that conversation in this playthrough. I found that conversation the first time, but I think we skipped it, but the game still plays out this portion of it, which is weird. But either way, whatever.
I took a look around the fountain.
Sir, why would you bother with such a thing? Why not just leave it up to that detective?
Well, I can't help suspecting something's wrong about all of this. 2 unfortunate accidents in such a short time?
You said it, sir. They are accidents. Henry just got drunk as a stone, and this time his luck ran out.
Maybe. But never mind. I have come because of something else. I found a footprint in the mud by the fountain's rim.
But that's nothing strange. There must be lots of footprints there.
Well, this one is fresh and much deeper than the other ones. The person who left it there must have limped badly or been carrying something very heavy.
Are you suggesting it's mine? Well, why couldn't it be yours? It's mostly me who walks around the garden, and the footprint is probably from the morning I found him.
Maybe.
Sir, I told you I was home the whole evening. I've got no idea what happened that night.
How do you know that it was nighttime?
If I answer that now, could we stop returning to the subject?
We shall see.
I heard it from Dr. Herman when he was speaking with Collier.
What else were they talking about?
I was not really listening. I just overheard a couple sentences as I was walking by. Can I go now, sir?
All right. I'll ask Dr. Herman myself. Maybe I'm suspicious of him unnecessarily, but maybe not. I'll go see Dr. Herman and find out what he knows about that footprint. I will go then.
All right, sir.
I mean, despite the fact that Morris and Henry didn't like each other, he doesn't really have a motive for killing Henry. We do have a footprint that looks like it was made from someone with possibly a limp leg like Morris has. So there's something that I guess connects him to it, but it doesn't seem very strong right now. I'm sure throughout this game we'll be building up our list of suspects. Yeah, look at this well. Doesn't that look boarded up to you? What the hell is Samuel talking about? Anyway, I think we're at the end of this episode. Thank you very much for joining me. Next time, we're going to continue our own investigation and see if we can find out what happened to Henry. We got to get to that fountain and get that key out of there. We'll take care of that next episode. So again, thank you for joining me. You stay safe out there, and have a good night.